Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Wednesday, February 5th, 2020. We again find ourselves in the final hour of the trading day. I mention this each day, but I make the majority of my buying and selling decisions at the close of the market. And the reason I do that is because during the day you have the algorithms, you have the day traders moving prices around. I consider it a lot of noise. At the end of the day, you have the large financial institutions coming in. They take control of the prices from the day traders and the algorithms, and they move it to what, in my opinion, at the close will be the most valid prices to make your buying and selling decisions from. So I primarily make my buying and selling decisions at the end of the day. The last few days, including today, I have had some intraday trades that have worked out well, and I'm going to show those to you. But normally I don't do this. We've just had such movement in the market, and really to make trades during the day you have to have a lot of volatility and you have to have a lot of movement. So that's why I did, and also there were some good setups that I thought would be helpful for you to see on different time frames as well, not just the daily. So anyway, thank you all for coming today. I always look forward to seeing you. I appreciate you being here. I hope that the time you're spending here is helping you with your trading and your investing. And if there's anything I can help you with today, if you have any questions, just put them in the live chat. I'll do my very best to get to them. So the Dow is up a mere 468 points. Unbelievable. I mean, like, this is getting to be the norm, up 1.63%. The NASDAQ is only up 59 points, up 0.63%. So vastly underperforming the Dow today, and the S&P is up 38.77, 1.18%. So let's take a look here. Hey, Kamal is here. Good to see you, my friend. Having a good day on Boeing, I see. Good. I'm glad to see that, Kamal. And Kamal is one of my students. Looking forward to our next lesson, Kamal. So you just let me know when the time is right for you. William Green is here. Hello, William. Nice to see you. Always appreciate you coming by. Hey, Evan, what's happening, buddy? Good to see you, my friend. You're having some good trades today for sure. Jackson, hey, buddy. That's our friend from Australia. We had a nice chat last night on Twitter. Good catching up with you, Jackson. Joe Turner. Joe is here. He definitely is here. How you doing, Joe? Good to see you, my friend. Appreciate you coming as always. All right. Let me see. Okay. So, and Mount Doji. Hey, my friend. What's happening, buddy? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Okay, just as soon as I start talking, Katie wants out. Give me 1 sec. All right, here you go. She's got me so trained. She sits there and looks at me, and if I don't jump when she says jump, she just bores into my soul with her eyes and like, hey, I said now. I'm like, okay, no problem. So, Zach, hey, good to see you, Zach. Nice to have you here. So listen, here's the plan for today. As always, first of all, we're going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. We're going to come back. We're going to take a look at my current positions. We're going to talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, and how I'm going to manage them moving forward. Then we're going to spend there we go. Sorry about that. Then we're going to spend a few minutes on trader psychology. As you know, it, in my opinion, is the most important skill that you can learn in trading is being disciplined, sticking with your plan. You can be the best chartist, technical analyst in the world. You can put together the best plan in the world, but if you can't follow it, it's kind of all for naught. So if you're finding yourself not being able to follow your plan, you need to work on that, whatever it takes. Reducing your position size is probably the best way that I know how. Or, have a friend or a relative or a spouse look over your shoulder, make sure you're sticking to your plan. It will make a big difference for sure. After that, we're going to go through the watch list. We're going to go through each stock one by one. We're going to take a look at support levels, resistance levels, moving averages. The way that I view trading, I look at these indicators as potential groups of buyers. And if you want to put yourself in the best position to have a profitable trade, you need to be in the company with as many other buyers as possible, and looking for a combination or a confluence of indicators, or in other words, looking for a combination or confluence of groups of buyers is the best way to put yourself in the best position to have a profitable trade. Then we also have to analyze the risk to reward, make sure it gives us a good risk to reward. That is also very important. Minimum for me, I need to have at least 2 times to the upside compared to my downside. So if I'm going to risk $100, I want to be able to at least make $200 above me based upon legitimate resistance levels above and legitimate support levels below. And then thirdly, just make sure you don't have too much correlation. You don't want to have too many tech stocks. You don't want to have too many healthcare stocks, or you don't want to have too many auto stocks. You're right. You want to be diversified in your holdings. It's good to even get outside of equities too, maybe gold, silver, oil, things like that. So I'm going to go through the watch list, look for those 3 criteria. If I find something at the end of the day, I'll go ahead and place the trade. Then after the market closes, if you have any questions for me, please feel free, type them in. I'll do my very best to answer or clarify anything I discussed. If you have any stock symbols that you would like me to take a look at, very happy to look at those for you. If you have a stock symbol that you think would be helpful for the group and that you'd like to get my opinion on before the market closes, please put a star by it just so I know that it's time sensitive, and I'll do my best to get to that. So, all right, well, that is the plan. JT is also here. Hey, what's going on, JT? Nice to have you, my friend. Miko25, good afternoon to you. Thank you for coming. Joe Turner says, I held out on my SPY sale, just sold 332.52. Very nice. Bob is here. Nice to see you, Bob. Appreciate you coming. Steve Burns is here. Hey, buddy. What's happening? Always nice to have Steve here. Always an honor. Always a privilege. Steve says, hey, Greg, great week this week with UPRO, IWC, and IBB after the coronavirus plunge last week. The bull show goes on. Boy, it does. I mean, talk about tale of two cities, right? Last week, everything was melting down. This week, everything's melting up. It's crazy. It's crazy, but that's trading for you. But Steve's has some great trades. So I'm going to go over a couple of those. Kamal says, would BA be a V2 modified on the weekly if it closes above 324.15? Well, let's take a look, see. No, because last week was not an inside bar. See, Kamal, last week was not an inside bar. We discussed this in our lesson. You know, some people, if you have day one or bar one and bar two, and then if the next bar doesn't trigger, but it's an inside bar, like you can just fit it in the previous bar to the left. I do know people that do that. And so this would be a V2, but this bar went above the previous week. So it's not an inside bar. I know Kamal really likes Boeing, but I think you are in Boeing, right? I mean, I believe you have some calls on it. Mount Doji says, UPRO this week has indeed been amazing, Steve. Yes, it certainly has. Marco, hey, good to see you. Good to see you, Marco. Marco says, hey, Greg, Steve, and all. Nice to have you, my friend. Hope you're having a nice evening in Slovenia. Hey, Frank, good to see you. Is it? Could it be? Yes, it is. Here's Frank with the poem. Feed your intuition with everything you learn. Insight is foresight. It lets you trade just right. I always have to read these a couple times to get the rhythm of these. Feed your intuition with everything you learn. Insight is foresight. It lets you trade just right. Techs and fundamentals, vital as they are, must always take a backseat, for the trader drives the car. Whoa. I mean, these get better and better, Frank, like every day. And not just good poems, but I mean, with a lot of meaning, with a lot of wisdom behind it all. Frank, you must have traded for a long time because you really have this psychology stuff down. That's fantastic. If you don't mind, I'd like to post that. Hello, Dan. Nice to have you. Dan says, hello, Greg and everyone. Hello to Dan. All right. Well, hey, we have a good group here. And, well, let's get to it. So, listen, like I said earlier today, I didn't have a lot of positions today, and I did resort to some day trading. Shocking. The last few days, Greg has turned into a day trader. But like I said, day trading is tough to do, but when you have a lot of volatility and a lot of movement, if you're going to do it, that would be the time to do it. So I'm just going to go here in order. I did take Apple earlier today. We closed, this is on a 5-minute chart. We closed below the -1 ATR channel. Then we rallied back into the value zone. Usually that first rally tends to fail. It sold off. We had a couple down days here. I bought it here at 320.24 when we had this nice V1. Here's day one, here's day two. Day two washes out day one, closes above day one's close, also rejects the -1 ATR channel, also rejects the 50-day moving average, right? I really like when you reject the -1 ATR channel, and if you can get something like a 50-day moving average in here as well, it's also good. So close below the -1 ATR, that's the green line. We rallied into the value zone. We had a sell-off. This bar, a whole new group of buyers came in as indicated by this V1 rejection of the -1 ATR channel and the 50 moving average. And you can see it took right off. I scaled. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 profit targets on that. And then I got out on this bar when we closed below the previous day's low, right? So whether this is a 5-minute bar or a weekly bar or a daily bar, it's the same approach, right? Once it gets a certain amount away from your entry, then I trail it with the close below the previous day's low. So bought here 324 or 320.24, sold up here to 321.92, and then exited the balance of my position right there. And you can see, I mean, in the short run, that was definitely the right thing to do. I almost took another trade here. Well, it was here, but I didn't take it because here's day one, day two, day three. Day three did not close above day one's close, and the day one bar was larger than 1 ATR. So I did have to pass on this one. Unfortunately, that would have been a good trade, but that's how it goes. That's how it goes. You don't get everything. So grateful to get a little something out of Apple today. Okay. UNG. All right. So I did buy UNG yesterday. I really did like this setup a lot, although it is down 11 cents on the day. But I did buy it yesterday on the 4th. We went under 30, over 30. We went under the -3rd ATR channel, over the -3rd ATR channel. I like the sideways movement here. Today, you can see it is down a bit, but it is holding my stop. MACD did go positive, so slightly down on the trade, but I definitely will be keeping this. My initial stop here is a close below halfway, this washout bar, this V2, day one, day two, day three. Day two washes out day one, day three closes above day one's close. But down a little on this trade today, but that's how it goes. But nothing wrong with the chart. The structure of the chart has not been broken by this little down move. If anything, it capped way down and then moved back up. So I will be holding UNG. Okay, SPY is another day trade. So I had an overnight trade and I had a day trade on SPY. So let me show you, because there's so many lines here, it would be confusing. But this is 5-minute bar again. Again, we're over the 1 ATR channel. We come back into the value zone, which is what I need it to do. I need it to stop going down and move sideways. This is exactly what happened. I took the trade here, triggering this V2. Here's day one, day two, day three. Day two washes out day one. Day three, my entry bar closes above day one. And again, I'd like you to notice that we rejected the -1 ATR channel here. I always like that. Sideways movement, rejected the -1 ATR channel, moved sideways for a bit, then cranked on up. I hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 profit targets, and then I got out here with a close below the previous day's low. So, not huge moves. Day trades are not going to be as big percentage-wise, but, this is a perfect setup, right? So I did take it. It worked out nicely, and I did want to show you. So I have not had the most fantastic day. I mean, close to even, actually, right about break even, unfortunately, on such a big day. But The good news is you all had some great trades, and I'm going to go over those. But you know what? I forgot to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Forgive me. So let me run that, and then as soon as I get back, we're going to go through everyone's trades. I'm excited to show you those because I know you've all done well on those. So hang tight. Give me about 40 seconds. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. All right. Frank says, thank you, Greg. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Frank. I'm so impressed every day. I think every day, I wonder if Frank's going to have another great poem. How does he do this? What kind of magic does he have to put this together? What kind of sorcery is this? Andrea says, hey, everybody, I sold some puts on SPY this AM. Well, then you did really well. Very good, Andrea. And I did get your message, and I'll write you back, but would tomorrow work at 6:30 Mountain Standard Time? I think you're in New York, right? I think you're in New York. I could be off, but maybe like 8:30 your time. But anyway, I'll write you back, and then we'll arrange it. Mount Doji says, hey, Andrea. I agree. Hey, Andrea. JT says, XOP moving up. Let's take a quick look at XOP. Yes, it is. Oil and gas has been beat down, so we're having a little bit of a bounce today. Mount Doji says, Eli was the only V1 I found on my watch list worth bringing up. Did they have earnings today? Mount Doji, I see earnings today. Is that after the bell, or was that before the bell? Steve says a lot of reversals today from the highs on the tech stock charts. Yes, that is true. Zach says, Greg, are you able to set systems up to notify you of your ideal setup, V1, V2, over, under, or do you have to look for these? You know, I imagine if you knew how to program stuff, you could, but I'm like the worst programmer ever known to man. It gives me anxiety even thinking about it, so I just kind of rely on myself. But I'm sure you could put in the criteria for sure. Joe says, Gregory Pudding Pie saw some stocks he wanted to buy. He opened the charts just to have some fun, and then he made a big trade after the V1. Joe, so good. It's always fun to have a poem written about you, right? So good, Joe. So good. You know, the super funny one day when Frank wasn't here, Joe wrote a poem. I miss my Pepsi and I miss my beer. We miss our poem because Frank's not here. That's so good. Hey, Bing He, nice to have you. You're doing well, my friend. We're going to go over the trades here in a minute. Pat O'Connell, hey, Pat, nice to see you. Appreciate you coming. Andrew says, I'm in Mass. Yeah, so 2 hours ahead. 8:30 tomorrow on Thursday? Good. I will send you an email with my Skype link. So I'm looking forward to being able to chat with you in person, Andrea. Eli's earnings are 210. Are they? See my little earnings thing right here? Maybe this is wrong. Guess we'll have to double check. Look, we did go under the 1 ATR channel into up into the value zone. Definitely a V1, 100% V1, but we haven't had 2 days down. That's the only thing that concerns me, Mount Doji. This was up day, this was a down day. if we look at Apple, not that this happens every single time, but see, I took it here because we had 2 days down. Boom, boom, reverse. This one under the 1HER channel up here, you also could have taken this V1, and I watched this one, but I didn't take it because see how we had an up day and then just one down day? Not that this always is the case, but more often than not, I see better results when I have 2 down days and then a V1. You can see this V1 wouldn't have worked, but here we have boom, boom, 2 days down and then the reversal. So here again on Callaway Golf, yes, under the 1HER channel, back up 1 day, only 1 day down in the reversal. So honestly, me personally, I don't think I would take it. Kamal says, after the V1, that is good. JT, Greg, you sound like a Pepsi commercial every time you recite that poem. Do I? Well, thanks to Joe for that one. I don't drink soda anymore, but honestly, I was a Coke guy, not a Pepsi guy. But to each his own. Okay. We forgot about the overnight SPY trade. Then we're gonna get to. Let me get rid of these profit targets that I took here. All right. I didn't sleep very well last night for some reason. Well, I know the reason, because Katie woke me up. So hopefully I can keep this together today. All right. So that was the day trade to show you. The intraday trade, everybody knows this. I'm going to show you real quick in case we have some new viewers, but I do buy the SPY every day at the close. I sell it first thing in the morning, regardless of technicals. I do this because of a back test from Liz Ann Saunders at Bespoke Invest. This is a long-term back test study from 1993. They tested 2 approaches. The first approach was buying the SPY at the open each day, selling it at the close every day. If you did this every single day, buy the open, sell the close, from 1993, you'd have returned a negative 13.9%. However, if you did the opposite, which is what I do, and buy the SPY at the close, sell the first thing the next morning, you do this every day since 1993, has a positive 634.2% return. The blue line is the buy in the afternoon, sell in the morning. The orange line is the buy in the morning, sell in the afternoon. Past performance is no guarantee of future results, but if I'm going to allocate capital, I'm going to allocate it towards something that has a good history of results. So you can see over time what your equity curve can look like by using this approach. It doesn't go straight up. There's always ups and downs, always, no matter how big your edge. But that is the reason I buy the SPY every day at the open, sell it at the close. So I did buy it yesterday here at 329.06, and I sold it this morning here at 332.30. So I've had 3 great days in a row. Back here, bought the open, sold the close. Next day, bought the open, had a huge gain at yesterday's open. And again, bought it last night, sold it this morning for a really, really nice gain here. So, this looks like it's taking me positive on the year using this approach. It was a little bit of a rocky start. I haven't done the numbers, but I think it's going to be over. So put me in the put me in the green this year for this approach. 2019, it was a great approach, and Jackson and I spent a lot of time discussing this last night. He's done all sorts of Excel spreadsheets that one day I'll share with you. When Jackson, sends them to me, if he's comfortable. But it's interesting because he has a function in his Excel sheet where he can say, okay, from this time period to this time period, buy the open, or buy the close, sell the open, it will show you what the numbers are, and then he can switch it around, hit another button, and say, okay, what about during the same time period if you bought it at the open, sold it at the close? And a couple of the ones we discussed last night, time frames we discussed last night, those were negative, where of course the buy in the afternoon, sell in the morning were positive. So anyway, I will be buying this again at the end of the day, and very thankful for that trade there. All right, well, let's get to the important stuff. And that is everyone's trades other than me. So Evan bought KDP back here on the 22nd with this bullish engulfing bar, V1. Bought it here at 28.03. It has moved up nicely. He's kept it. Up a little bit today. 2 days rejection of the 50-day moving average would concern me a little bit. But so far, really good trade, Evan. And let me know if you make any changes to that, okay? All right, Bing He. Look at this trade. Bing He's been on fire lately, at least from what I've seen. So Bing He did buy LIVN back here at 68.10, under 30, over 30. V1 kind of just did nothing for a couple days. Yesterday it went up, it reversed, but today got paid off with a 3.14% return. Proud of you, Bing He. If I was in this trade, I would be watching to see whether or not this rejects the 50 RSI. But, stay with this as long as it's moving your way, or whatever plan that you have. But congratulations, Binky, on that trade. Evan bought WBA yesterday. Very nice. He bought it. It went under 30, over 30. That was his trigger. Also a false breakout to the downside from this previous low. Bought it at 52.30, up 1.62% today. Let's see, did it reject the 50 RSI? No, 46.36. So fantastic trade, Evan. Proud of you, my friend. Really happy that that worked out for you. Let me know if you have any changes in that. Amon Solo bought FCX back here on the 28th of January. Previous day rejected the 200. Tested it again, closed above the 100. I assume he was using the 200 as his stop. And the last 3 days have just gone trucking up. If I was in this trade, I would keep this as long as it stayed above the 50-day moving average. If it closed below, that's when I would get out. But fantastic trade. Amon Solo, man, I'll tell you, he's a killer when it comes to trades. I mean, you have seen his trades. I mean, pretty amazing. Really, the consistency in the moves is pretty amazing. Evan did buy BIG back here 2 days ago on the 3rd with this higher low V1 here. Yesterday went against him, but held the halfway of the washout bar, closed above, and I believe that's why he kept it. Up 3.25% today, Evan. Really, really nice. Just watch that RSI there and see if, if it rejects the 50 RSI, that, might be a reason to get out. Again, Amon Solo. Boy, I would have taken this trade had I seen this. This is about, when it comes to a deep dip buy, this is about as good as it gets. Under 30, over 30, under the 200, under the 100, over the 100, confluence of the 30 RSI and the 100, which doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's great. V2, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 2, washes out day 1, day 3, closes above day 1, and cherry on top, closed over the negative third ATR channel. Look at this baby roaring up here, up 2.9%. Same with a couple other trades. If this closed below the 50-day moving average, that would be my trigger to get out. But if there's any changes in that, Amon Solo, you let me know. And Amon Solo bought CMCSA yesterday, the under 200, over 200. Did it close over 30 yesterday? Oh, sorry. Yeah, we weren't even. Oh yeah, this is the one I would not have taken because it already rejected the 50-day moving average. But nonetheless, it is still up today. So watch that 50 RSI. So man, great trade, some fantastic trades from everybody. Really, really great. Mount Doji says HL has a V1. Yeah, it does, Mount Doji. The only thing, it looks like it rejected. Oh, well, this thing moves quick, doesn't it? It was currently, it has rejected the 50 RSI. Now it's above the 50 RSI. So, listen, it's a $3 stock. It's up huge. It's up 5% today. It is a beautiful V. It is a beautiful higher low V2. My only concern would be if it closed under the 50. So if you do something with HL, just let me know, okay? Joe has a second poem of the day. Let's see. So you want to make a trade and you want to do it right. You should do what Liz Ann Saunders says and buy the SPY trade overnight. Oh my gosh. This is so good. Joe, can I tweet that to her? She's going to love that. This is like Poet Studio. This is like the best thing ever. How can you guys put these poems together? Like, you could lock me in a room with pen and paper and it would take me hours to make one simple little poem that made no sense about anything. Oh, Jackson also took oh, that's right. We talked about that. Well, let's get you up on the board. How are we doing on time? I'll tell you, this hour flies by. I always feel like it goes by and I'm always pushed for time. Very, very nice, Jackson. Proud of you, buddy. Bing, he says, I noticed all of our trades work well today. Does this mean technical setups work only when the market is going up? If so, we must have a way to determine when market is going up and for how many days. There's a lot of different ways to determine whether the market's going up. MACD, if it's positive, you have positive MACD crossover, means positive momentum. That's hard to say, Bing He. I mean, let's look at Steve's trade here. Steve bought the IBB here when it went under the 30, over the 30, and back over the third ATR channel. Well, I mean, look at this fantastic trade he's had. It's been a monster trade, but you certainly, going into this trade, could not determine that the market was going up. Do you see what I mean? So my advice is, work with signals that you're comfortable with. And, if you have some other filters as far as what makes you think the market's going up or so forth, by sure, use them. But you never know. You just pick your setup depending on the filters you use. But the main thing is, be patient with it if it's going up and be very impatient with it when it's going down. Okay, so listen, this is the time of the day I like to talk a little bit about trader psychology. There's some really good Facebook and Twitter channels out there that spend a lot of time and energy, burn a lot of calories on putting out good trading words of wisdom and helpful sayings for us. And this is T.O. Birkin, at T.O. Birkin on Twitter. He has a great channel. I would suggest that you subscribe to it, read everything he has, because it's very helpful. And I'll tell you, whether it's T.O.'s channel or other people's channel like Steve's or Thomas or Stephen Goldstein or, all the rest of the people that I generally pull from, read these things, read them with an open mind. Be open to what they're saying to you and try to internalize these, because these are time-tested things that you should think about if you want to be a profitable trader. But Tio says, patience versus conviction. When holding an asset, I think giving it time, sitting tight, as Livermore said, is part of the investment process. You must be patient. So he's saying here, if you're holding a stock or an asset, give it some time, right? Time is part of the investment process. Be patient with it, with the caveat, as long as it's going up. On the other hand, holding a conviction irrespective of price trending the other way, that's poor risk management, right? So yes, it's important to have some fundamentals or like the fundamentals of the company, but just because the fundamentals are good doesn't mean the chart or the entry is there. And if you like the fundamentals and you get a trigger, by all means, take it. But don't be patient with the loss. If it has a loss, like Tio says, it's poor risk management. If it's going up your way, sure, be patient with it. But on the other hand, holding a conviction irrespective of price trending the other way, that's poor risk management. So don't have a conviction in a company if it's going against you. So thank you, Tio. Appreciate that. And I think that was very helpful, and hope that was helpful for everyone in the group. Frank says 2-for-1 special today on poems. All right. What the heck's going on? Whew. All right. We ready to do this? Oh, Evan, update. Getting out of KPD. Want to free up some capital for new trade. All right. Well, that was a great trade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Somewhere between 10 and 12 days. All right. I'm going to take that off the board. You feel like you got the meat of that trade there? Is that what you're thinking, Evan? Congratulations, man. You guys had some great trades. All right. Let's get to it. Joe says, I'm done. 2 was the max today. All right, Apple. Well, look at this dip and right back up. This is kind of weird though right now. We made a lower low. Now we have a lower high. It's kind of range bound. I wouldn't be surprised if it sticks all the way in here. I have a friend that sold a lot of calls, and I mean a lot of calls, up at 325 expiring Friday. So he's in that weird position where he owns the stock. He wants it to go up to 324.99 and expire so he gets all the premium, but he does not want it to go up much any more than that. And right now he's watching this like a hawk, and he's conflicted. He wants it to go up, but he doesn't want it to go up over 325. Anybody have any thoughts? Is this going to go up to 325 before Friday? I'll give him your feedback. So look, well, so now I need a pullback basically, right? I need a pullback here. Higher low V1, V2 would work, but nothing on Apple for me today. Adobe, look at this big reversal bar, everybody. I mean, this means that all sorts of buyers, again, people, right, overnight and in the pre-market bid it up, sold it into the close, as very often with the S&P. So this is quite a bearish bar, V1 to the downside under the -1 ATR channel, still holding the 70 RSI, but that is a big bar. So nothing there. I need a pullback. Amazon, ooh, well, it was green earlier. Same thing, sold right at the open. That was it. So this is going to be a while before I can get into Amazon. Need to pull back into value. Boeing, look at this, everybody. I'm happy for everybody that has Boeing, but I'm a little bummed for me because yesterday, you remember I wanted to take this higher low V2, but it didn't quite trigger. It missed it by about 12 or 13 cents. Ugh, right? But that's just what happens. I talk about having regret if you follow your rules or break your rules. Here, I followed my rules and I have regret. If I took it and broke my rules and it went down, then I'd have regret. So you're going to have it, but very, very nice. Some people that I work with, actually from Kamal. Kamal bought some long-term calls on Boeing, and the people that I work with like those calls, 422s, 2022s. And so wonderful day today up, Kamal, but nothing for me here, unfortunately. Berkshire Hathaway, really nothing going on here. Here's a large bar, larger than 1 ATR, that goes under the 1 ATR channel, into the 1 ATR channel. definitely more than 50-50. If you have a large bar that goes under, larger than 1 ATR, goes in the value zone, very likely it will go up and touch that 1 ATR channel. I'm not going to buy that, but I just noticed this would be interesting to point out. Beyond Meat, well, I mean, it's doing exactly what I want. We were above the 1 ATR channel, came back into the value zone, moving sideways. Everything's setting up, right? Better than buying it up here, right? But it stopped going down. Now I just need some kind of V1 or V2. How are we doing on time? If you remember, Steve took the 520 EMA crossover here and just went roaring up over a 38% move in 4 days. One of the biggest trades I've ever seen. Caterpillar. Okay, so it went under the 200, over the 200, and it's moved up nicely today. Honestly, we were looking at this yesterday. I decided not to take it, and really the reason I decided not to take it is once you close under the 30 RSI and you're down here and you get some distance under the 30 RSI, that concerns me. I like when they come down to the 30 and immediately bounce instead of stay under the 30 for a couple, for more than one day. That's what concerns me, and that is what steered me away from entering this position. But obviously I was completely wrong. I should have taken the position. But if I was in this trade, I would be looking for how it reacts around the 50 RSI. Dow Jones, did we make all-time high today? No, we didn't, but pretty close. Nothing here. I need to pull back into the value zone. Look at Walt Disney, everybody. Holy smokes. Earnings. It's recovered quite a bit, but my gosh. So, huge down bar, throwing a big rock into the pool, all sorts of commotions with the water and the waves. I would just need to see this move sideways, look for V1, V2. I did buy this back here on the 30th with the V1 and the close, or the under and over the 200. Had a nice 2-day trade. I decided to get out here because it got close to the 50 RSI, rejected the 20. But yesterday it kept moving on up. But it's okay. Still happy with the gain. But a lot given back today. Of course, if I had the trade, I would have gotten out yesterday for sure because I don't hold in front of earnings. Etsy, larger than 1 ATR bar coming into the value zone, very likely. That will come back down to here. Not for sure, but you do it 100 times, probably 60, 65, 70% of the time when you have larger than 1 ATR bar coming into the value zone, it usually will go down to the negative 1 ATR. Facebook, nothing there. Gold. Well, we were above the value zone. We're into the value zone. We have 1 day of sideways movement. If we could get another day of sideways movement in a V1 or a V2, then I would definitely take it. I'm looking for the 5 EMA to cross under the 20 EMA and then back over. That's a good back tested approach. Last time we were in gold, it's exactly what happened. Sorry, that one happened over here. Right. When the 5 crossed over the 20. We bought it here and scaled out all the way to there on that exact same signal. So I just need the 5 to cross under the 20 and back over, or if it just sideways movement, V1, V2. Google up a penny today. Really nothing going on with Google. If it could move sideways for a couple more days, get some more narrow bars, look for a V1, V2. Goldman Sachs, really nothing on Goldman. Home Depot, really broke out there, would have to wait for a pullback. IBB, I went over this a little while ago, but Steve bought this under the 30, over the 30 RSI, under the negative third channel, over the negative third ATR channel. And why that's important is they couldn't find any more sellers under the 30. They couldn't find any more sellers under the negative third ATR channel. And that was his entry. Gave him a really good risk to reward. If he was wrong, he probably would have been wrong somewhere in this range. If he was right, like he was, look at this beautiful move up today. A little bit off of its high today. Be interesting to see what Steve does with this. Did test this previous high here and reject it, which is a bit of a red flag. Intel, nothing on Intel. Russell 2000, nothing there. What I'm waiting for on the Russell 2000, I'm waiting for the 10 SMA to cross under the 50 SMA and then back over. See, we're still above it, but if we go down for the next couple days, it will go under. Then I'll look for a close back over. Okay, Johnson & Johnson just keeps motoring up. All the biotechs and pharmaceuticals seem to be doing well today. I don't know if this is coronavirus related, but they seem to be pretty hot today. CarMax, nothing here. Coca-Cola, nothing. Coca-Cola, need to pull back to value. Lockheed Martin came into the value zone, did trigger a V2, but I don't like buying these Vs without this sideways movement. Very likely this will fail, and then I would have to come back down to this point before I could get involved. MasterCard, big move to the downside. Big reversal bar, a lot of big reversal bars. So if we could come into the value zone, I'd look there. McDonald's, needed to pull back into the value zone, look for V1, V2. Merck, looks like it missed on earnings. So nothing there, just another reason not to gamble in front of earnings. Microsoft down today, which is surprising, isn't it? Big reversal bar. So we've had a lot of reversals in tech today. Netflix, reversal. Tag the third ATR channel, not surprising. Nike. So we were under the 1 ATR channel, came into the value zone, 1 day down, 2 days down, but unfortunately this bar is larger than 1 ATR, so even if I had a V1 tomorrow, I would not be able to take it. Philip Morris, nothing there, earnings tomorrow. PayPal, gap down. The Qs themselves gapped down and lost the 70 RSI. So look at this, above the 70, under the 70, above the third ATR channel, under the third ATR channel. So, those are two kind of bearish signals there. And, I already mentioned under 70. So silver, I'm waiting for a 5 EMA to cross over the 20. That will be my signal. I did take that exact trade about 4 days ago here when the 5 crossed over the 20. Boom, but then it puked on me the next day. I had to get out for a loss. So I'll be waiting for the 5 to cross back over the 20. The S&P, of course, we had that nice overnight SPY trade. We're right up here at resistance on this previous high. Should be interesting. We have a double top with the bearish divergence. Here's the top. Here's the MACD readings. We go red, obviously. We come back up, but no green bars to be found. This is what's called a double top with the bearish divergence. Bonds. All right, so I think Andrea had bonds, and I think she got out somewhere up here. So I'm glad to see that. It's coming back into the value zone, right? Better than buying up here. It's now in the value zone. I just needed to come down a little bit more, kind of drip sideways, look for a V1, V2, and then I would be buying a dip. Tesla. All right, everybody. Look at this craziness. I mean, yesterday at its high, it was up 24%. And today it's down 17.68%. I mean, this is insane. I mentioned yesterday that there's all sorts of short squeezes going on here. People are forced to buy. Whenever there's forced buying or selling because of margin calls, it's artificial and it's not sustainable. Obviously I wish I would have shorted 1,000 shares of this yesterday, right? Boy, people have made some money and they have lost some money. I was looking at this, I'm like, I hope people just weren't short this, and went, okay, I'm changing camps, and then they went long. Boom. I mean, who knows? I'm sure somebody did. But where would I be interested in Tesla? Tesla scares me big time down here in the value zone. Twitter, big reversal down bar. UAL, I put this on the list because it did look interesting down here. It did go over 30 yesterday. I didn't take it. And up for almost 4% today. So anyway, that's how it goes. But now that it's in the value zone, I'll look for a couple day pullback, look for a higher low V1. UNG, did buy that yesterday with the under 30, over 30, V2, under the third ATR channel, over the third ATR channel. I do like that MACD went positive today. So I'm slightly underwater on this trade, but I'm definitely going to be holding. Healthcare really strong here. Nothing to buy there though. Oil finally up today off of its highs. Looks like it's flirting with the 30 RSI, but that's all it has. Even if it closed above 30, it would just have an under 30, over 30. And again, you see how long it's been under the 30 RSI? This always concerns me. If there was a V1 associated or something like that, different. But VIX, okay, so we were well above the value zone. We've come back into the value zone. I'd like to see this move sideways. Then I would look for a V1 or V2 buy for sure. This is a perfect return to value. Now we just need sideways movement. I did buy it back here on the 21st. We went under 30, over 30, under the negative third HER channel, over the negative third and the V1. And this turned out to be a really nice trade, almost 15%. From bottom to top on this trade. So then I got out. Glad I did. Just looking for another setup. Verizon, nothing really there. We're back in the value zone. Again, I need a couple day pullback, V1, V2. Walmart having a nice day today, but nothing there. Energy Select doing well. But again, see how long we were under the 30 RSI? Here's the 30 RSI line. We were under here a long time. Now we've popped back up. I like when it comes down to the 30, maybe 1 day, 2 days max, and then bounces. This has been under for a long time. So this move back up concerns me. I would much rather look for a higher low V1 or V2. Financial sector really strong to high. Real estate, nothing there. Utilities, nothing there. I need to pull back into the value zone, right? Still cannot buy up here. Had a recent trade on this. I mean, exactly what I'm looking for, right? So it's above the 1 ATR channel. I want to see it come back in the value zone, go sideways, look for a V1 or V2. It's exactly what I did on this trade here when it was above the 1 ATR channel, came back into the value zone, moved sideways, got the trigger, and look at this trade, all the way up to there, phased out, and then I was out. So that's what I'm looking for again. And healthcare, boy, healthcare and pharmaceuticals are strong today. So I do not see anything to buy today again. Let's see. Steve says Apple is going up on low volume and down on higher volume. It will be tough to get and stay above 325 by Friday close. Plus, a lot of tech stocks are reversing highs today. I totally agree, Steve. But you know how it is when you have somebody that's dealing with a lot of money. Like I don't even really want to give him my opinion because I don't want it to like plant a seed. And then if I'm wrong, he's like, well, I did it because of you. You know what I mean, right? I'm sure Steve's been there. So I try to be as objective as possible and non-committal as possible. But I agree. I mean, Apple's only up $1.76, you know, on a huge day like today. Like you said, the volume, I think it's going to be tough to get above 325, but you never know. And I mean, we're talking about like 50 calls, Steve, right? Like a ton. But thanks, Steve. I appreciate that. Bing He says, if a setup occurs with a bearish candle, is there any concern? Yeah, sure. I mean, sometimes that happens, you're right, but it's definitely something I would figure, I would figure into whether I was going to take it or not. You know, it doesn't mean you can't take it, but if I have two identical trades and one triggers with the bearish candle and another with the positive, I'd most likely go with the positive. Hey, Christopher, good to see you. Hope you're having a nice evening in Leeds in the UK. Just back from parents. Oh, that's great. Nice to spend some time with your parents. Bing He says, I thought the longer a stock stayed under the 30 and suddenly it go above 30, that is a strong signal. Maybe my common sense is different from other people. Well, in my experience, Bing He, stocks, the longer they stay under 30, the weaker they are. So that makes me a little concerned to buy that first move up. Sometimes they move up and it's perfect, but in my experience, the better ones that come down and immediately get rejected by the 30. Because if it can stay under the 30 for a while, there's something kind of wrong with it. So don't want to confuse you on that, but in my experience, ones that come to the 30 and immediately bounce are much better than ones that go under 30, hang out there for a long time. So that's my take on it. Gamer says, I got on BA yesterday, taking some profit today. Fantastic, Gamer. Good to see you, Dave. Good to see you. Yeah, dang it. I was waiting for this bad boy and I just never got the trigger. But, you have to have some comfort that you stuck with your principles, you stuck with your plan, right? Sometimes, obviously I wish I would have taken it, but then I would have been guilty because I would have broken my rules and all that kind of stuff, right? Steve says, that is a lot of calls. The most options I ever traded on Apple was 20 on a weekly strangle when it was above 650 calls is huge. It's huge. It's huge, Steve. And these are weekly options, right? These are weekly options. So, the gamma increases dramatically and, is the rate of change in the delta. And, if it's going your way, that's good. But if it's going against you, it is super scary, super scary. So anyway, he's looking fairly good. Evan says, can I see big on your chart real quick? Yes. You see that, Evan? That seem about right where I had you in? He says, I noticed Steve trade on IBB is on a bearish candle. Is it possible to explain to us again that trade? You good with this, Evan, right here? I'm running out of time. Well, yeah, whenever you have a really deep dip buy, a lot of times you are going to have bearish candles, obviously. But, I believe the reason Steve took this was, he had a couple signals, under 30, back over 30. See how it bounced right at the 30 being he? It didn't go under and hang under there. It just literally bounced and then up. And it also rejected the 30 ATR channel. So, there's different approaches. There's pullbacks to values, there's higher lows, but on a strictly a deep dip buy, very likely, and a rejection of the 30, almost certainly you're going to have a bearish candle. Bob says, thoughts on HRB? First bar is a bit long, but looks like a good V2 to me. Well, yeah, and this is exactly, Bob, why I could not take this. Here's day one, here's day two, here's day three. Day two washes out day one. Day three does close above day one's close. It is a V2. It did reject the negative third ATR channel. It did close back above the 30 RSI. This is all good. And in this particular situation, I would give a pass to the day one because it's not really a return to value. It's a deep dip buy. So honestly, pretty good. My only thoughts here, it's a 46 RSI. It doesn't mean it can't go above the 50, but the risk to reward at this point doesn't look so great to me at a 46. And that's probably why I would pass. Okay, so I've got 1 minute. I have to make sure I've got my orders in and all that good stuff. So I'm keeping UNG. Yeah, that's rallied nice there at the end. That's good. I like that MACD crossover. And I'm going to buy the SPY. So that's it. Pretty boring. Pretty boring. But, those of you that are in these nice profitable trades, be patient with them, right? Unless you have a reason not to be. But on the other side, I can't go jumping in these trades after they've made these moves, right? That's the part of discipline that's important. If you're in it, it's fine to stay in it, but it doesn't mean you can just enter a new trade if you missed it and you're chasing. Hope that makes sense. Steve says IBB 30 RSI zone oversold by. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just what we talked about there. All right, Will. So I picked up SPY at 332.86. All right. $332.86. Boom. Right there. So that and UNG is all that I have. Pretty light. Kind of a shame on a day like today, but that's how it goes. That is how it goes. But I'm really glad to see everybody having such good trades. Everybody in the chat, Steve, congratulations. And you know, that's how it is sometimes. Sometimes you miss out on some of these gains because you just, you know, for whatever reason, I decided not to take them. But sometimes you miss out on the loss by not taking them too, right? So it's just important to have your own process, have your own plan, take the trades that you feel good about, not what other people feel good about, right? It has to be personal to you, and sometimes it's going to work for you, sometimes it's not, sometimes you're going to be in them, sometimes you're not, sometimes you're going to make money, sometimes you're not. So, but don't chase things. If people are in things and you're not in it and you feel like you're being left out, don't chase it. Just be patient. The bus comes around every hour, right? A new trade will come around, I promise you. Evan says, was there any news on BIIB? Holy smokes. We've got another Tesla on our hands. I don't know. I'm wondering, I mean, are they working on a vaccine maybe? Oh no, they had a MS drug patent win over Mylan. So that's what happened there. Wow. Amazing, huh? Woo. All right. Well, listen, if anybody has any questions, please let me know. Happy to answer them. If you want me to take a look at any of your charts, I'm happy to do that as well. I guess I'll just put in my quick plug, let everybody know that I do offer private one-on-one coaching and teaching lessons in the evening time via Skype. I do offer a course. It's a one-on course, just you and I. 5 sessions, each session somewhere between 2 and 3 hours. I teach you everything I've learned over the last 24 years as a full-time trader, everything I've learned from my mentors such as Steve Burns, Dr. Alexander Elder, Kerry Lavorne, Larry Williams. I also teach you everything that I've discovered and worked on over the years as well. But you know, it's a pretty intense course. I tend to teach the first part of the course. I ask you questions. I have you teach it back to me. We do lots of chart study. I have you break down charts, you know, positives, minus, what's the risk to reward, what are other things to look at. So I think it is a good course. I mean, I know it's a good course, right? I put a lot of energy into it. So, you know, if you're interested, please reach out to me. You can send me a message on Skype, or you can send me a message via email. The email's in the description of this video. Before I take on a new student, I do like to have just an initial Skype call with them just to get to know them better, learn more about their trading and their challenges and their goals and their struggles. And, you know, if both of us decide that we're a good fit for each other, then we can go ahead and we can schedule the actual lessons. But the Skype call is totally free, and I promise you there's no obligation whatsoever. I hate that, right? But just see if we're a good fit. But it is $1,000, but I think it's worth every penny. I really do. And I do know that it's going to make you a better trader for sure. So if you're interested, just reach out to me. And then also, if you like today's podcast and you find it helpful, if it's helping you with your trading and investing, please do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button before you click out of here. It helps grow the channel, helps Google promote or YouTube promote the channel out to more people. And there's a lot of people out there that could use help with trading. So if you find it valuable, please hit the thumbs up button before you leave. That'd be awesome. Evan says, don't forget your plug. I just did it. Hey, Glenn, good to see you. Glenn says, hey, Greg, nothing hitting my screen to buy short term, only added to some long-term global ETFs. Demographics have the market rising LT into the mid 2030s, similar to 1947, 1964. Oh, interesting. I have a friend of mine who's a stockbroker at Merrill Lynch, and he is really big into the demographics numbers, and I would definitely say that he would totally agree with you. Good to see you, Glenn. Bing Heat. LIVN has hit about 3% today. My mind start to think that tomorrow it may go down since it go up so high today. My rule says to take profit only when it hits profit target. How to control this mind? Yeah, well, that is just normal human emotion, right? Because if it goes down tomorrow, you're going to go, dang it. Right? I should have sold because I thought about it. But if it goes up tomorrow and you sold it, then you're going to go, dang, why did I sell it? Because it really didn't hit my profit target. I think the best advice I could give you is that saying that I have. Be fearful when you have a loss. Be hopeful when you have a gain. Most people get fearful when they have a gain, and they get hopeful when they have a loss. If it goes down, they get hopeful. It'll come back. It'll come back. It'll come back. If it goes up, they get fearful and say, oh, I don't want to give back that money. But I promise you, the better way to approach is to flip it around, be patient with your winners. I know you don't want to be. I totally understand that. But, try to work on being patient with your winners and being very impatient with your losers. And you have a great winner here. You have a great winner. So I would stick with your plan, Bing He. And just understand that that's just normal human emotion that you're going through right there. Bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. So what was the final tally on today? 483 points up on the Dow, only 40 points up on the Qs. Interesting, huh? Big difference between the Dow and the Qs for sure. Of course, Tesla didn't help the Qs any with its 17.7% down day. Well, the shorts have definitely got to feel a little bit better about this. I mean, they were literally getting crucified. But, yesterday's candle was kind of an indecisive candle. But again, when you know that people are being forced to buy because of a short squeeze, or when people are being forced to sell with a margin call on a huge sell-off, in my experience, every time there's forced buying, it's probably going down, and every time there's forced selling, it's probably going to be going up pretty soon. Where did our friend Disney end up? I wanted to show you another reason to be concerned about betting on earnings. Look at Ford, down a mere 9.48% today. Pretty sad, right? But could you imagine? Hey, I got a signal. It's a close over the 200. Oh, but there's earnings. Well, they'll probably have good earnings. Boom. All right. Listen, if you're going to gamble, go to Las Vegas. Get some buffets and a free show and, some free drinks at the tables, because at least you get something there to gamble. Here, you get a nothing, right? And it doesn't mean that after earnings of stock, you can't make a ton of money to the upside. Of course you can. But, my mantra, or the number one I always think about in trading, always, I never think about making money first. I always think about how can I avoid risk? How can I avoid risk? And the absolute best way to avoid risk in the stock market, one of the best things to do that you have control over, is don't gamble on earnings. And if it goes up, you're like, oh, but I would have made so much money. Yes, but that's if your first priority was making money. Your first priority needs to be managing risks and not putting yourself in a position where you can really really lose a lot of money on gambling on earnings. So remember that, just every once in a while, remember, think about risk first. Always think about risk first. If you think about risk first, the profits will come. They will come if you focus on risk. But if you focus on profits and don't worry about risk, I promise you the losses will come if you get into a trade and you don't care about risk and you hold on to losing trade. Just like Tesla, right? Just think if you were short here, you thought this is it, this is the top. It doesn't have to be the top. If you think this is the top, then you got to think that's the top. If you think that's the top, then you have to think that's the top, right? It's a bad cycle to get into, everyone. Zach says, so what would be some cues to get you back into... Oh, sorry. I skipped over these. Did Amansolo take DE? I don't know, to be honest with you, because we were looking at DE and we were looking at CAT yesterday. DE better, it didn't hang out under the 30 as long, I believe, as CAT, but I'm not sure if he did. I did get an email, so I don't think that he did, but either one would have been a really, really great trade. However, just a good example here, if I did take it yesterday, I would have gotten out today. And the reason why? It's a 49.98 and it did reject the 50 RSI today. Doesn't mean it can't go up, but that would be my signal to get out. Evan said, did he mention it yesterday? Yeah, we talked about DE and Caterpillar because they were very similar. Zach says, so what would be some cues to get back into Ford? Well, it looks like it went under 30, over 30 today. Not quite. It pretty much bounced right at the 30 RSI, but it didn't go under and over. And that would have been my signal. So if it went under 30 tomorrow and back over, then sure, that'd be a legitimate signal. It doesn't mean it's going to go up, but it gives you a good risk to reward ratio. But here we are right near the 30 RSI. If it goes under the 30 RSI and holds there, the longer it holds, the worse it is. What kind of people succeed in trading? Optimistic or pessimistic? Greg say to always think a trade will lose when you enter a trade. Yeah. I think whatever works for you emotionally, being he. But yes, whenever I get into a trade, my first thought is, and it may sound negative, but it's not negative. It's just part of my process. When I get into a trade, I think to myself, it's probably going to be a losing trade. Because if I prime myself that it's going to be a losing trade, if it does become a losing trade, then I'm right, my ego's right. I'm like, see, I told you, boom, it's easy to get out. But if you get into a trade thinking it's going to be a winner and it goes against you, then you have more propensity to want to stay in the trade because your ego already told you it wasn't going to be a trade. If you guys remember, I was talking about Paul Tudor Jones, one of the most successful billionaire traders in the world, one of his main rules is I go into every trade thinking it's a losing trade for exactly the same reason. So, being optimistic, being pessimistic, I don't know if it's that simple, but I think the right word is cautious, Bing He. You have to be cautious. Cautiously optimistic, I think, would be the right combination. Bob says, what risk to reward is your target? So Bob, at least 2 to 1. If I'm going to risk $100 to the downside, I want to be able to make at least $200 or more to the upside based upon, some kind of legitimate resistance above me and support below me. I hear some people say, I won't take a trade unless it's 5 to 1. That's fine. You know what I mean? They don't have to have a very large winning percentage to make money with that, because when they make money, they're going to make a lot of money. But, just as a general rule of thumb, 2 to 1 is what I look for. Glenn says, I use a 3 to 1 risk to reward. That means I can have more losing trades and still be profitable. Yeah, exactly. The higher your risk to reward, the fewer winning trades you have to win to be profitable. So, but some people use 5 to 1. Glenn uses 3 to 1. I use 3 to 1 or 2 to 1, excuse me. Jackson says, make it conscious effort to look at risk first. Always look at this first. And then the second thing is, I don't compromise my rules. As Greg says, you compromise one rule, you compromise on another. Until you have no rules at all, and that's not a good place to be. Sticking to your rules is so important, including the rules set for risk. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Well said, Jackson. I mean, if you start breaking your rules, then it's easier to start breaking your rules. And then you have no rules. And if you have no rules in trading, you're screwed. I promise you, you are screwed if you don't have any rules in trading. So, just like being on a diet or an exercise program, once you start cheating, once you start skipping the gym, it gets easier and easier to do. Jackson says, Greg's advice on this has really changed my trading. Oh, good. Thanks, Jackson. Boy, Jackson is a totally different trading person mindset, right? When I first met him. Really glad to hear it, because that's what it takes. That's what it takes. To do this for the long run, that's what it takes. And again, trading is about the long run, everybody. It's not about, hey, how much money did you make this week? I actually didn't make that much. Oh, I made a ton. Does that mean the person that made a ton is the better trader or has a better long-term potential than the other person? No. The cautiously optimistic rule-based trader in the long run is going to be the one that comes out ahead, I promise you. Jackson said, I had some funny ideas in my head. Baltic Dry Index, baby. And Bloomberg. Remember? All righty. Well, we had a really good group today. Thank you for all your questions. I hope my answers were helpful. Jackson says, I'll never live that down. That's nothing you have to live down. That's just what you thought about. And hey, listen, there are professionals that use Baltic Dry Index as an indicator. I guess you just have to know how to use it. But there's a million different ways to trade. It all comes down to your personality. You could give me the best long-term trend following system in the world, but if I don't like to hold trades for more than 3 or 4 days, I'm not going to follow it, right? So you really have to custom build a trading method that fits your personality as far as how long you want to hold a trade. Do you like to get up in the morning? If you don't like to get up in the morning, then probably end of day trading is a good one for you. If you hate to get up in the morning, somebody gives me the best, open trading system at the open, I'd be like, nah, no, doesn't work with my personality, right? Doesn't work with my personality. So you have to find something that just fits your personality as far as risk, holding time, time of the day that you trade, all that kind of stuff. Cautiously optimistic. I will remember this phrase in my mind. Thank you. I think you're welcome, Bing He. I think that's exactly the right description, is cautiously optimistic. And to expand on that further, cautious with your risk, optimistic with your open profits. How about that? Jackson says, I hate to get up in the morning, but I'm here. That's right, buddy. You are here. Thanks. Well, I slowly feel myself losing my voice. So I am going to get out of here, put on my hiking boots, go tromp around in the snow with Katie. And Andrea, if you're listening, I will write you later just to confirm. I'll send you the link to my Twitter account. But yeah, let's go tomorrow, which is Thursday, 6:30 my time, 8:30 your time. And I really look forward to speaking with you in person. Bing He says, I wake up at 4 a.m. anyway. I want to learn the real Kung Fu. If I knew if I kept hearing Greg teaching every day, I will improve. I have seen an improvement. I have seen recently a huge improvement, Bing He. How do you feel? How do you feel, Bing He, about your trading lately? Do you feel like it's gotten better? Do you feel like you have more confidence? Andrew says, okay, sounds good. Good. Yeah, I'll just send you an email with the little link. Just click on it tomorrow at 8:30 and we'll just ring my Skype. Jackson says, whoa, that's a tough one on Bing He. Bing He's tough. He can handle it. Jackson says, in winter, I need to wake up at 4 a.m. also. Oy. Zach says, Greg, do you ever do your training sessions during the day? No, I don't, Zach. I take those trainings really seriously and I don't want to be distracted when I'm teaching by the market or distracted by anything else, things I have to do. At nighttime, I get done with everything, then I can really, really focus on doing the teaching and, so yeah, I don't do it during the day for that reason, because the market's going. I don't want to be distracted. I want to give full attention to my students. Bing He says, yes, improving, but still my commission exchange rate loss make me feel unfair to me. Yeah, I know. Bing He, Jackson and I were discussing you yesterday, and on our Skype call, we were discussing, the amount that you have to pay there in Singapore, and that is tough to overcome, no doubt about it. I see you phasing out, but I cannot. I totally understand. It wouldn't make sense, but I know with your trades, for instance, like LIVN, it would be. I'm assuming if you had been phasing out here, it would be much easier for you to keep this trade, right? Like it would for me. That's why I phase out, right? But you're in that situation with your commissions where really you don't have the choice. It really kind of has to be one entry, one exit. Jackson says, Bing He, your broker there sound like our brokers here in Australia. Fortunately, interactive brokers are available with local bank account here, and I'm not willing to wire my money to the U.S. Yeah, Jackson, Bing He has the same. Bing He doesn't want to wire it to the U.S. either. Yeah, so I understand. Bing He, is interactive brokers, is that available in Singapore? Because they're in the $1.50 to $2 range compared to what you're paying would be a huge benefit. I mean, these intraday trades that I made on Apple and SPY today, I wouldn't have made them. if I had to, Schwab used to charge $5 a commission. I would not have taken these trades. Well, maybe I would have taken them, but it would have been one entry, one exit. It wouldn't have been all the phase outs. I mean, on Apple, what did I have? Six or seven phase outs? No way I would have done that unless it was free. Bing He says, yes, but the free commission is only applicable to U.S. residents. Well, I'm not talking about free commissions, Bing He, because interactive brokers, like their pro account, is somewhere between $1.50 and $2 US. Yeah, that's what Jackson's saying. True, Bing He, but they are still cheaper by a long shot than what you're paying. Yeah, for sure. That's, they have the free version, and then they have the pro version. And the pro version is what Jackson uses, I believe. But if you could use them with a local bank, I think that would really help. So you might look into it. But again, don't confuse the free commission compared with the pro commission. I think it's called Interactive Lite or something. That's the free one. And I understand that's the one you can't use. Yeah, I mean, even at $2.26, you're paying 10 times that, right? You're paying $22 a share, a trade. Bing He says, I don't think it's regulated by our Singapore government, so if they close down, we cannot get our money back, I think. Well, my understanding is that they are the broker for some of the largest hedge funds in the world. So I assume they feel confident keeping their money there, but I mean, you have to do what you feel comfortable with. But they are big, they're huge. I think they're the largest as far as money on deposit. Anyway. All right, listen, I'm going to head out of here. Just want to leave you and just remind you to please go out and do something nice for somebody today. Just a smile, or hold the door open, or a wave, or just a kind gesture really could make a big difference in their day, and would also be good for you too. So try to make a habit of that. And also, if you haven't hit the thumbs up button on the way out here, I would really appreciate that as well. So go out, do something nice, hit the thumbs up button, and have a good rest of your day, right? And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Congratulations, everyone, on your great trades. Bing He and Jackson and Evan and Amon Solo. Who else did we have? I think I covered them. And Jackson, obviously. Yeah. Jackson says, as Singapore residents, I'll let you know. Joe says, ciao, everyone. Ciao, Joe. And thanks to Joe. Thanks to Frank for the great poems. But yeah, look into that, Bing He. That would be great. I mean, $2 compared to $22 is pretty good. Night Rapper Joe. All right, everybody. Have a good rest of your day, okay? And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Take care now. Bye-bye. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.